January 15th, 2012. It finally cooled down a bit. We've been having record highs and below normal lows here in California. So it's still, in the high 50s. It's a gorgeous day outside, perfect day for a ride. It's been great all week. My manager at the apartments I live at told me I've got to clean up my balcony. So I've got transplanting to do. I've been waiting and got some soil. My mom had an extra bag. My dad let me borrow a car, and I washed that and thrashed my back, so I had to take a week off. I was able to continue my physical therapy, but I had to postpone the transplanting. I've had my ups and downs the last couple weeks. It's really interesting. The Buddhist monks came for the last 4 days. They were here locally in El Dorado County, and I went and visited them. We had this great conversation, a discussion on, we used the jumping off point as the Heart Sutra. And I'm not a Buddhist, and I'm not really well versed in it. But the discussion was really fruitful, and I felt like I really grasped what he was saying in relationship to my studies and my experience. But I could tell by the question in the question and answer period that there were some questions. People were not grasping it at all, and that's a good way to start, where you just sort of dive in and say, okay, I'm here, I'm present anyway, but I felt that maybe I could rephrase and put it in a question, and through rephrasing what was said and putting it in a question, it elaborated on what the Geshe had spoken of and shared through the translator. There's always something lost in translation. But they did a good job. They're good. And he was always smiling. He was enjoying himself. And that's always good. So I had a good experience up there, and I could tell that both the Geshe and the interpreter felt that my question helped expand an awareness, and the rest of the group also agreed that, they had a better understanding. And it ran along the lines, to use the way I was describing it. He had used an example of a movie, seeing a movie, and how the actor portraying a character is not the same as the character. To try to give example of two different eye concepts, two different eyes. And what I shared was that, when I watch a movie, I want to be convinced. I want to be fooled. It's got to be convincing. That actor's got to know what they're doing. And I was laughing at the time and sharing this because that's the way the ego works. They don't have a word for ego in uh, Tibetan Buddhism. Uh, it convinces us, it fools us, the self-image we have of ourselves, and it can be fun. And what he was trying to say and show is that he made a few statements that you've got to have a goal, you've got to have a target you're aiming at, because when the ego comes under, when the little I, not the big self, but the little I becomes self-aware, it wants to defend itself. It wants to keep the movie going, the rendition that it is inventing. It wants to keep it going, so it grasps onto pleasure and pain to try to destabilize ourselves, get us to grasp onto the fixed and set fast, the little picture show, the movie on the screen, and that it's projecting. So this grasping concept and this target, you've got to have a target, you've got to have an aim. And the aim in this situation is Buddhism, and the doctrine and the teachings. And he was explaining how, there's much, much to learn. There's great studies and terrific things in the world to discover. And there was another concept where this mutual arising, and this is what I asked about him, it seems as though that all the phenomena that are illusions, actors playing on a stage, enacting a role, but not the real deal. They're not being their genuinely authentic self. They're enacting a mask. It seems as though they're all supporting, ultimately, enlightenment, realization that of the bigger picture, of the self, the big I, that is not rooted in attachment, which creates suffering. And he was trying to describe this. And I had a good time. I really appreciate that I can share something that helps others. And I've spent a lot of time thinking about these things and studying guys and watching guys and gals that try to see through the forms. So I think I have a little something to offer, perspectives, though I'm not the teacher, that's for sure. So I've had a good week. My dad's loaning me a car enabled me to get up to where the monks were at. And I visited a bookstore that I've been wanting to visit for a while and check out and see if there were some books for this year's reading schedule. And I found an abridged version of Toynbee's Historical Cycles. I don't know if it's the right one, but it's a beautiful coffee table book, history book. It's beautiful. It's large and thick and full of all kinds of pictures, but I don't know if it'll do him justice. But I saved that for next. I put that, they're holding it. Finances this month are really tight, so they're going to hold it till next month for me.